Welcome back, Raider Nation and my champions. This is Eric, and we are live tonight, this Friday night, and we want to talk about our new regime here, our new battery of our general manager, Dave Ziegler, and our new head coach, Josh McDaniels. I see a few people already filing in here. I want to say hello to all of you. I see Sandy B already chatting in the live stream chat. If you do have any questions or comments, be sure to put those in the chat right now, and we'll get to those after I get through the rundown. If you don't know what the rundown is, if you're new here, I'll let you know. Basically, our rundown is this. We have segments here of the show. Every live stream, we have different topics. This is what we're going to go over. The crux of the live stream, obviously, is talking about our two major new hires. There's also another new hire that we'll talk about as well that happened a little bit later on. And but I also have some other topics I want to talk about. And then at the end, we have a Q&A session where I want to hear your opinion, and we can bounce back and forth questions and answers during the live stream here after the rundown. But first, before we get into the poll of the week here, I want to give a shout out to another Raider content creator out there who actually gave me a shout out earlier this week regarding my salary cap video. And his name is Andy. He does a channel called Raider Football Talk. Very good channel. I appreciate the channel. I'm a mod on his live streams. They're fun chats. He's young, but don't let his age fool you. He knows a lot about football. He knows a lot about the silver and black. And also, if you're a fan of John Madden, he likes to do Madden streams as well in the off season. So go ahead and check him out when you get a chance. I put a link in the description below, so go ahead and check that out. Hey, Alex Martin, I see you in chat. Welcome to the program. We're just going through our rundown here. First thing I want to talk about is our poll of the week. Now, obviously, I wanted to get your feedback on what you thought of these two new hires, obviously from the same team, the New England Patriots. There were some questions about if they're cheaters and that they're from the Patriots, the evil organization, or we're going corporate. A lot of the press conference people were making fun of Josh McDaniels, saying a lot. I'd kind of do that during live streams myself. Obviously, I was a little bit nervous out there, but I did put a poll out, and I wanted to get your feedback on what you thought. Kind of awesome to what the hell are we doing, basically. And for the most part, it's pretty positive. Over 90% of you had, I would say, pretty positive, either awesome, we're ready to go, or we're going to take a wait and see approach, at least being optimistic. So that's good. I think overall, I think that's a good take to have as Raider Nation. I'll give you my take once we go over what I think of each hire here in a minute. But first, before that, I want to talk about what's going on this weekend. And I put it out in social media today, and it's a little bit different. Now, I put this as Las Vegas All-Star Weekend because we not only have one, but two different major sports All-Star games going on. That's the NHL All-Star Game in the Vegas arena, or Vegas Golden Knights arena, and the Pro Bowl, obviously, in Allegiant Stadium on Sunday. Now, this is on Saturday, the hockey All-Star game, and they're also doing skills competitions. I don't think this has ever been done before in the same city, the same year, the same weekend. I could be wrong. I've never heard of it before, of any of the, at least the four major pro sports here in the United States. So it's very unique. So I'm sure, I'm not there. I'm still here in Southern California, so I'm sure it's packed between the football fans and the hockey fans, and I'm sure some of them are going to both venues and all that. So not just that, though. I'll probably catch a little bit of the hockey. I do like hockey, but my focus is going to be on the Pro Bowl, and of course, our four guys that are in it: Denzel Perryman, Mad Max, Hunter Renfrow, and of course, AJ, our punter. Well done, guys. You guys made the Pro Bowl. And, have a good game. Don't get hurt. Have fun out there. You guys deserved it. You earned it. You guys all had great seasons individually. So good job. Let's get right to this as far as what we want to talk about here. And that's the hirings of both Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels. Let's first talk about our new general manager, Dave Ziegler. And the first thing I want to, hey, Dominic, how you doing? I see you popping in there. Thanks for coming on in. And everybody else who's coming in who's not participating in the chat, go ahead and participate in the chat. That's fine. If you don't, that's fine. You want to wait until after we get to the Q&A session, that's fine as well. So let's first get to Dave Ziegler, our general manager. And I just wanted to first pull up a little bit of kind of his resume. Of course, I pulled this off of Wikipedia. It's pretty basic, and we'll talk about this now. There's some peculiarities here. Now, he started off, as far as the pros go, in 2010 with the Denver Broncos as a personnel assistant. Now, of course, if you know about the other hire, Josh McDaniels, he was the head coach at the time. We'll get to that, obviously, what happened with Denver as his first stint as an NFL head coach. But McDaniels brought him in, and now Ziegler is essentially his boss. So it's kind of a peculiar situation, but I kind of think it's good overall because they've worked together for so long with the Patriots here. Now, Ziegler kind of came on board on basically kind of the second half of the Patriots kind of, you say, dynasty run. He was there for the last 3 Super Bowls, and they say he was the assistant director of player personnel, and then last year they said he was director of player personnel. And a lot of people say he was the default or de facto GM. I disagree with that. Obviously, you know who's pulling the strings there. That's Bill Belichick, and kind of like the Gruden situation. But you know what? Belichick earned it. He got 6 rings. He can do what he wants there. He's probably got a job for life. That's obvious. But, he's going to learn a lot there and provide input as well. I just don't think he had the final call. But in those positions where he was the last 2 seasons, I want to just take a look at the draft classes that the Patriots had. Not necessarily that he was making the ultimate decisions, but I'm sure he had some influence with Bill on some of these things. Hey, Chevy, I see you in the chat. Welcome here. Thanks for coming on in. We're just going over our 2 major new hires, and I'm going to add Champ Kelly a little bit, and I'll talk about him as well after this. Now, let's go over first I want to talk about the 2020 draft class for the Patriots. Now, again, I just pulled this up off of Wikipedia. I just wanted to see where we were. And I really wanted to focus on the front end of the draft because we as Raider organizations had problems there, obviously, with especially our first-round picks. Now, in the 2020 draft, the Patriots traded down with the Chargers. The Chargers moved up to get Kenneth Murray. Middle of the first round, they moved down, got Kyle Duggar. Now, this was a guy, a safety, a kind of a do-it-all. He kind of rose through the draft period in the spring. You always have a few of those, kind of from an unknown school, kind of a do-it-all type of guy. They picked him 37th overall, and then they got Josh Uche, outside linebacker from Michigan. More of a 3-4 outside linebacker. They call him an edge rusher. I don't think so. He's only like 235, 240 pounds. More of the typical 3-4 kind of outside guy, kind of like a Melvin Ingram type of guy. Now, as far as Duggar goes, he was hurt. He only played about half the season his first year in 2020. He did get 64 tackles. Last year, he kind of came into his own, had 92 tackles and 4 interceptions on the year. Pretty good, especially playing what they call a strong safety position. He kind of moves back and forth. So as far as Josh Uche goes, a lot of talent, a lot of quickness from what I've seen of him, but he's been oft injured. He's only played 21 games in 2 seasons. So especially with the 17th game, that's 21 out of 33. He's only had 21 sacks. Not a big guy to stop the run, and only 21 tackles, only 4 sacks. So jury's kind of still out with him. Now, let's get to the 2021 draft. And, of course, they picked Mac Jones up. He fell to them 15th overall. He ended up being a Pro Bowler, alternate rookie. Now, that kind of, you could say that says more to Josh McDaniels and what he was able to do with him. Obviously, as the OC, offensive coordinator, and quarterbacks coach there. And then they got Christian Barmore. That was a kind of a candidate for us, possibly in the first round, that we could have got at defensive tackle. We could have shored that up. We didn't really do that. And then this guy, if you've been watching my offseason videos, Ramondre Stevenson, a big bowling ball type running back. Patriots love to run the ball. I think they're like 5th in total attempts, 5th or 6th in the league. They love to run the ball. It makes sense here. And that could be reflective here of what we could see with Josh McDaniels and the makeup of this team, to be honest with you. Not a bad draft overall. Of course, jury's still out. Plus, Bill had the final say in a lot of these drafts and moving around, picking 2 tight ends. I didn't get that during the 2020 draft when I watched it. That was the one where he was in his office, aka his kitchen, and they'd go to the camera and his dog was sitting there in the chair or something. Bill Belichick, I thought that was hilarious. But anyway, I still do have optimism for him. Number one, he has the experience. He has some experience. He was an NFL analyst, and that's a big difference between getting up there and talking smack about something and actually putting your name on something and being a part of a success or an ultimately a failure. So let's enter Josh McDaniels right now. As far as the head coach goes, let's see his resume as well. Of course, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this right here. The Denver Broncos. Obviously, he came in with the New England Patriots, kind of rose through the ranks, kind of rode up there with Bill Belichick, learning a lot, becoming offensive coordinator, working with Tom Brady, and then getting those 3 rings, and then kind of getting his head coaching position here with the Denver Broncos. Now, yes, they ended up going 11-17 as coach there. He went 8-8 the first year. Now, Josh McDaniels brought this up in his opening presser that I think he was too immature for the job. He didn't know how to work with people, kind of a prick, and that kind of led to a lot of issues within the organization. And also, they ended up shipping out Brandon Marshall, a big-time wide receiver at the time for them, because he basically couldn't get along with Josh McDaniels. They moved Jay Cutler and got Kyle Orton in a wacky trade. I think this kind of all goes to him. I think he was a little bit too young at the time. He was a little bit over his head. And, this was 12 years ago. I'm not going to necessarily count that against him. Now, he did come back, of course, with the Patriots, and they won 3 more Super Bowls. So he was there for all 6 Super Bowl seasons. Of course, we can talk about Indianapolis, where he kind of left him at the altar in 2018. That would probably be the biggest question I have as far as Josh McDaniels. It was weird because when this was going on, this was kind of a package deal, and everybody knew that. But if you look on the Raiders site, they were only announcing Ziegler as the GM. They didn't really put it on the site until they had the presser with Josh McDaniels. And I'm wondering if they thought that McDaniels was just going to walk out on him as well. So that is, to me, that's more of a legitimate concern. Offensive-minded coach. They like to run the ball like crazy there. More efficiency. That's what kind of, like I said, with Ramondre Stevenson, expect if either we're not going to pick up Jacobs and they're just going to put a bunch of running backs there, or get a solid running back number 2, which we absolutely need because Jacobs cannot stay healthy. So let's go on to the assistant general manager that was hired a couple days later. That was Champ Kelly. Now, a lot of people were saying that he might have gotten the general manager position, but that didn't work out. Now, if you look at his resume, basically the big thing, a couple big things here. Of course, he knew a little bit about Josh McDaniels here, 2009, 2010, Denver Broncos organization. That makes sense. It's kind of one of his guys. That makes sense. And then the Chicago Bears involved with the drafting process, not the GM, but from 2017 to 2021. I looked up what they did. Now, Ryan Pace was the GM. Now, 2017 was the debacle with Trubisky. And little things here is that those 5 seasons, their first pick was on the offensive side. They only picked 1 defensive player with their first pick, and that was Roquan Smith in 2018. And that was with the second-round pick. Of course, they had to dump a few first-round picks to move up 1 spot with the Niners, which didn't make any sense. I'm not going to blame Champ Kelly for that. That's Ryan Pace pulling the trigger. Maybe he agreed with it, but but ultimately that was not on his decision. So I'm interested to see what he can bring to the table as far as evaluating on the offensive side. They did get guys like David Montgomery, Cole Kmet, and of course last year with Justin Fields and a guy I wanted, Tevin Jenkins, in the second round. I thought that was pretty good haul right there. So again, I want to see what he can provide on the offensive side of the ball. Now, as far as the fallout goes, of course, in with the new means out with the old. And, some of them I totally agree with. Greg Olsen, goodbye. Tom Cable, goodbye. I've been talking about that for a while now. Gus Bradley, some people liked him, some didn't. Obviously, it looks like he's on his way out. It's not official yet, but pretty much he's on his way out. But the one guy I want to really talk about here, and I want to give some time to him, and that's Rich Bisaccia. Now, he's been basically a career special teams coach. He came in with this whole John Gruden debacle, and then the Henry Ruggs thing, and then Arnett going crazy, and he held the team together and got us into the playoffs by hook or by crook. All the players love him. Apparently, he sent a handwritten letter to each player after the end of the season. A real class guy, and you know what? I'm going to say it again. If Al Davis was running the show here, I think I don't think he should have been head coach, okay? But if Al Davis was running the show, to be honest with you, it probably would have been a provision for the new regime to keep him as special teams coach, and I would have been happy with that. And, you know, give him a little bit of a bonus. Show your loyalty. That's what Al would have done. And he's interviewed with Chicago as the special teams coach. Really, a lateral move. You're going to let him go to Chicago after what he did for us? That's a bunch of bullshit. And then I heard rumors that he interviewed for the Jacksonville head coaching position, but they believe they hired Doug Peterson. I could see if he can get a step-up job, but a lateral, you're going to let a guy go laterally for what he did for us, help keep the team together. That's nonsense, Mark. Get your shit together. Keep this guy on. And unless, of course, somebody wants to hire him as a head coach, you know that's great for him. Now, I think I've spoken enough. We're going to get to our question and answer session here. I'm glad you guys are here. Those are my takes. Basically, I'm more of the wait-and-see approach. I'm optimistic. These guys have a lot more experience and a lot more proven success, even as assistants and backup to Bill Belichick, than the previous regime did. And that's the bottom line. So I'm optimistic about this approach. I'm interested to see how we handle Derek Carr's contract, Max Crosby, bringing in free agents to the draft. This is going to be a very interesting offseason. And of course, the defensive coordinators is a couple they've been talking about. One of them is Patrick Graham. The other one's Sean Desai from the Bears. If you guys want to talk about that, we can talk about that. I'm going to scroll up now. Alex Martin, new subscriber here. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much for subscribing. It helps me, helps the algorithm. Also, give it a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm spread the word, and I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let's see. Dominique 5, hello nation. Hello to you. My bad at work, but good day all. Hey, Chevy, no problem. I appreciate you coming out. I was going to go Saturday night, but I had a prior commitment. I'll try to do it more Saturday nights. I know a lot of people kind of work on Friday evenings, so I'm going to do that from now on when possible. Let's see. Dominique says, Champ, you know I'm happy Gus is gone. I know you are. You're one of those guys that does not like Gus Bradley. You know, and I can accept that. I think personally, I think he did enough. Remember, he was only in there 1 year, and we went from like 25th in defense to 14th. But again, you can make those arguments. The red zone defense sucked. It was near the bottom. We weren't making the proper adjustments to get to the quarterback in the second half of the season. We were doing gangbusters in the first half, but the front four was not getting to the quarterback as much, not nearly as much in the second half, and we weren't blitzing as often. We weren't compensating for that. And then, of course, covering the running backs in the flat, it was just embarrassing how easily somebody could just throw a dump-off pass for 15 or 20 yards. So I understand that with Gus Bradley. I still think he did pretty well for the talent he had. Like I said, the only marquee free agent he really had was Yannick Ngakoue. The other guys were players, frankly, other teams didn't want. And he kind of made it work. He brought in some of his own guys, his own system, and kind of made it work. But it looks like we're going to be moving on from him. I wish him the best. Except, of course, when he plays against the Raiders. And again, I'm looking forward to seeing who the defensive coordinator is going to be for us. You want Wink Martindale, Fangio, or Mayo as DC? Okay, Wink Martindale, his name's Don. I don't know why they called him after the game show guy. I think that's like a little joke. But he was the Ravens DC last year. Ravens defense didn't do that well. To me, a lot of the players left, and they got exposed. So I'm not so sure how good he is. Vic Fangio is solid. He's always been a solid defensive guy. not so much as a head coach. But now he's gone at Denver, so I wouldn't mind bringing him on board. Mayo, I could see that. Linebackers coach for the Patriots, bring another guy in from the regime. I could see that. I don't know how good he'll be. He was a pretty good player. I guess a decent linebacker coach, but, we don't really know what we got there. That'd be his first time as a defensive coordinator. So that's my opinion on that. Chevy says Fangio wasn't on the Broncos. Yes, he was the head coach of the Broncos for a couple of years, and then he's been DC for a few places, Chicago, I want to say Carolina, but he's had solid defenses wherever he's gone. Let's see. Yeah, Chevy says I wouldn't want Fangio. It's like last year picking up Gus. We swept the Broncos. I don't know about that. I think the problem with Denver has been the same problem for years, and that's the offensive side of the ball. That's the quarterback. Bridgewater was serviceable at best. Drew Lock absolutely sucks. He's horrible. I'm surprised they didn't go after a quarterback last year in the draft. John Elway was a terrible GM, especially at picking out quarterback talent. Great quarterback, not so much on the GM side. Let's see. Yeah, he says he's a great defensive coordinator, not head coach, only focus on defense. Yeah. I wouldn't mind him at all. As a defensive coordinator. Gus got hired by the Colts. It's official. Well, good luck to him, except when we play him. We went through the scheduling. We talked about that. Colts will be here this time. We won't be going to Lucas Oil Stadium by the way the schedule falls. We'll be playing the AFC South, so we will be playing the Colts next year. It'll be very interesting to see how Gus plays against Derek Carr, wouldn't it? We'll see how that plays out next year. Yes, I do think Derek Carr will be extended and will be staying here. I have heard the rumors about some three-way trade with Jimmy Garoppolo, and we're going to send Carr to Tampa, and we're going to have to give up a second and a third to get Garoppolo, and Garoppolo is even worse than Carr. That's unbelievable. I don't know if a 49er fan wrote that or a Tampa fan wrote that. It was absolute junk. I saw that in social media. I was laughing. Chevy says, I'd hate to see a repeat. Fangio comes in, starts bringing in Bronco players over, and we look the same. I wouldn't mind some of the Bronco players, but again, then that means we're going to go to a 3-4. Again, I don't think we're not equipped to go to a 3-4 right now, and that was even addressed during the opening presser with Josh McDaniels, and I loved his answer. He said, well, basically that doesn't even matter anymore because, the league's such a pass-happy system. You're basically in a base nickel most of the time, so 3-4, 4-3, it doesn't matter. But, Crosby's more of a 4-3 defensive end, not a 3-4. We still have problems at defensive tackle. We don't have a true nose tackle to cover that. We have Denzel Perryman inside. We need at least one other inside linebacker. We don't have the players right now to go to a conventional 3-4. We just don't. If they want to rebuild it and then roll that out the year after, then fine. Israel, thumbs up for the video. Absolutely. Give this video a thumbs up if you are enjoying this, the content, the going back and forth. Give it a thumbs up, helps the algorithm. And when you subscribe, if you're not watching this live, why not subscribe so you can catch this live, so you can be in the chat just like all these other people, and we can go back and forth with this. And when you do subscribe, hit the bell notification, set it to all, because sometimes if you don't do that, you won't get the notifications. YouTube's kind of weird about that. And if you have a device, if you're watching this on a phone or a tablet, be sure to set the notifications to on your YouTube app. I know it's kind of crazy, but that's how YouTube rolls. It just is what it is. So need to sign Akeem Hicks. That wouldn't be too bad. Again, we're going back to the 3-4. I'd have to look to see how much he's going to want. But yeah, I wouldn't be against that. Let's see. No problem. I support all Raider content creators here on YouTube. It's all love. I appreciate that, Alex Martin. Thank you very much. Again, I'm sure you're talking about when I said thank you for subscribing. I'm just kind of going through Scrolling down here, you get a little bit of a delay with the chat here that I see, a few seconds. And also I'm trying to get through all the comments here. Eric Hunter, welcome here. I see you in here. It looked like a new face in here. Hope he doesn't blitz against us. Well, you know what? With that defense, they might. They don't have a lot of pass rushing strength there. It's going to be very interesting. They're gonna have to address that in the draft and free agency, in my opinion. The Colts, they got a solid defense all the way around, but I'll be interested in seeing that. And I don't think he'll blitz. He normally doesn't blitz that much. So Swifty, welcome here. I see you here. You put a comment. Decides the man for the job, in my opinion. Yeah, he did well. Top 10 defense overall. You could say, well, one, it's only 1 year. Two, the Bears have a lot more talent on the defensive side of the ball than we did. But still, they got the job done. That's the bottom line. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind that either. Chevy. F Jimmy Garoppolo in a three-way trade. For all you car haters, I know there's some car lovers. I'm in between. I'll knock him if he does bad, but I'll praise him if he does well. I just want to win. Just win, baby. And if it's him and he can get us to the promised land, that's great. If not, then let's get somebody else. But all you car haters, if you don't like Derek Carr, you will absolutely despise Jimmy Garoppolo. You think Carr is bad and throwing bad passes? Did you watch the NFC Championship game? Jimmy Garoppolo is damn lucky that he has a solid defense and a running game, because there's no way in hell he could win any games. Carr has taken us on drives. Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm not seeing it. You know, I'm really not seeing it. It's a little here, a little there, but overall, Let's see. Israel says the Colts have become our rival as we played them 5 out of the last 6 seasons. Now, Israel, it's a little weird now. As I've said, I kind of broke it down. I not only showed our 2022 opponents, if you want to look at that previous video, but I also showed how the league determines who we play. And I just went through it myself before anything was announced. I knew who we were going to play. The 17th game's a little weird, but that's NFC. But either we play their division every 3 years, so that's a given. We got to play them at least every 3 years. But then if we finish the same place as they do in their division, we're going to play them again regardless. So if we finish second, then they finish second, we're going to play them, even if we're not playing that division. It is what it is. So, yeah, I don't mind the Colts. I thought we did a heck of a job against them. More Carson Wentz, awesome. Good job. He sucks so bad. He's almost as bad as Drew Lock. I think he's a little bit better, and he's a hell of a lot more luckier than Drew Lock. I mean, that was the luckiest touchdown in that Colts game that I think I've ever seen in my life. 2 of our guys run into each other, ball pops up right into T.Y. Hilton's hands like a punt. Touchdown. Unbelievable. Let's see. I'm just going through here. I'm just scrolling through here. Yeah, hit the bell notification, hit the thumbs up if you are enjoying this. Also, I'm right now in off season. I plan to do a weekly live stream, and I might do some supplementary videos if we have some big activity going on. Some of the things I did last off season, if you weren't here last off season, I did some mock NFL drafts. That was a big crowd pleaser. Is pretty fun. We go through. There are a few sites that I really enjoy. We'll go through that again if you'd like to do that. And you can also do trades on there. It was very interesting, and we had a lot of fun with that. So I'm gonna plan on doing that a little bit closer. We get to the draft, like March April timeframe. We'll do a few of those. We'll talk a little bit more about the new hirings once we get a defensive coordinator. If you have anything specific you want to have during a live stream, a topic, a chat for a future live stream, go ahead and put it in the chat below here. Or if you're watching this on a replay, put it in the comment section below. I read every comment as long as YouTube gives it to me. I have a little story with that. There are a few that I get like every 3 months. They're like 6 months old. They just pop into my feed. YouTube will let the creators know when there's a new comment in there. I'll read it, and I usually respond to just about every comment as well. So if you have an idea, if you want something, I will be more than happy to do a live stream on that topic if enough people want to do that. So let's see. Sandy B says, not a car hater, but he didn't finish that. You go ahead and finish that thought. That sounds very interesting. It's like a little cliffhanger there. Chevy says, are you surprised that we didn't get a black head coach? And is the league racist? You don't have to answer, LOL. Those are mutually exclusive things. Okay. Am I surprised we didn't get a black head coach? Not necessarily. Honestly, I'd want to be colorblind. That's how I am. If we could get Tony Dungy out of retirement, I'd love to have him. I thought he was a great head coach. But I think we hired McDaniels because of Ziegler and McDaniels and the synergy there. I think it probably made the most sense because we needed both at the time. And we didn't get ourselves into a Harbaugh situation like Gruden, where he has all the control. I kind of like that as well. Plus, they come from a proven background, the Patriots now. I'm not saying everything was on them, but some of it is on them. The shine gets on them as well. So, no, I'm not really surprised we didn't get a black head coach. If you want to look at some of the contenders, we could talk about that. Bieniemy, Leslie Frazier. If you want to go into the specifics, is the league racist? So that's a separate thing. I don't know. I think there's a little bit there. There's a little bit of smoke there. But also, I've heard a lot about Brian Flores not being the most personable coach out there. I've heard that. I don't know that for sure. And maybe that's why he was fired from Miami. Honestly, I didn't think he should have been fired in the first place. I thought Miami was kind of turning it around. They were kind of scrappy. I think Tua Tagovailoa is not the answer there, unfortunately. And they're going to be going through like a Mitch Trubisky period where, they could have a decent team and then have a bad quarterback and kind of muddle around till they get the next one. But I don't think he should have been fired based on the field merit. Now, if he was untenable, he was causing problems. I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but you're hearing things. That's understandable. Let's see. Sandy B says, I want what's best for the team. I don't care if they are purple. Well, yeah, me too. I am old school. I remember when Al Davis ran the team. It was just win. I don't care what color you are. You go out there and you play like hell, like John Madden said. Play like hell. Don't be late. Show up on Sunday. Play like hell. It didn't really matter. We'll take the cast-offs, the misfits. That's another thing that a lot of people were. It was like, well, they're Patriots. Well, so what? We'll just win. I don't really care. And then they say, the whole tuck rule game and all this stuff. Guys, we got screwed by the league in the tuck rule. Here's the playoff win that we should have had. The Patriots didn't do it. The league could. Nope, you don't get it. And gave the Patriots a gift. They received a gift. If we got the holy roller, we received a gift. I can't blame the Patriots for that. The league office, the call on the field was a fumble. They stopped the game, and New York gets on the phone and overturns the call. It wasn't anything to do with the Patriots. They just happened to be the beneficiaries. Lyncho says, how you doing, Lyncho? I saw you in here a little bit earlier. Give you a shout out. Anyone know the best route to get draft tickets? They're probably on sale at Raiders.com. That would probably be the best bet since it is in Allegiant Stadium. If you guys don't know, most of you probably know already. The draft is there. A lot of things going on in Allegiant Stadium. Like I said, we have the Pro Bowl. We have the makeup for the crappy draft in 2020 that everybody had to be a shut-in for. We got it this year. We're going to get the Super Bowl in 2024. So a lot of things going on, a lot of good things. I'm sure they'll probably throw like a Final Four, maybe a WrestleMania. As far as the business side, it's pretty good. It's pretty good for the city, pretty good for Mark. So, Swifty says, I don't think Harbaugh would have worked out for us. I kind of agree. I think he's a good coach. I think Sandy B says, I just saw that. I kind of agree with you. I, I think he's a good coach, and he's proven success in the National Football League. But I'm leery, and I'm sure Mark Davis is leery of giving that much power. It would have been another Gruden situation where he would have ran the show, and frankly, we can't do that. We can't do that. I can see Bill Belichick. He's got 6 rings. He took that organization. I mean, they contended here and there, but the Patriots were a loser organization. Let's face it. They had little moments here and there in their history, but overall, no Super Bowls, no real direction. When I was growing up, they were 4-12, 3-13 every year. Andy Reid, another guy, he can kind of write his own ticket with Kansas City, I think, for the most part. Got a little bit of trouble with his son and all that. I'm not gonna get into that, but I think that's another guy. Once somebody like that brings success to you and brings like a dynasty type element, you can kind of run the show. Harbaugh hasn't done that for us. Somebody have to earn that. I'm hoping that this new battery can build it foundationally. And another thing, in the press conference, Ziegler was talking about basically character and not having those types of players here. So I know I heard a lot of the previous regime talking about character, but then they draft Henry Ruggs. They drafted Damon Arnett in the first round. Even Nate Hobbs now. I mean, you get a DUI and then you get a ticket for driving over 100 miles an hour. I think these guys are going to be kind of put on notice here. If they don't behave, I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like Nate Hobbs gets cut. I'm just saying. So don't be surprised about that. They're not going to put up with this nonsense. And then Gruden himself, I mean, for what you could say in the investigation, I mean, he should have known better than to put that. Even if you think he's the biggest racist in the world, I don't. I think it was kind of taken out of context personally, but even if you do, why would you put that in a league email for the whole world to see? It's never going to go away? That's just stupid. John Gruden's just stupid. Let me take that back. I don't think it's stupid. It's more arrogance. It's more like, I'm untouchable, F you, I can do whatever I want. And that's how he kind of ran things and kind of ran the team to the ground. Like I said, I think this was a silver lining that all this stuff happened, and we can get, I think, a better regime in here to get better players in here and to be and better coaching, frankly. Dick Vitale, welcome. I see you in here. Good job. Nice to see you in here. I'm so glad we got rid of Bradley. What do you say? Honestly, I think if we would have kept Bradley, I'd have been okay with it. I do understand with a new regime, you want to put your own guys in there. I kind of understand that. I don't think Bradley did a terrible job, but I don't think he did a great job. I don't think the talent was there. I still see a bunch of holes in this team. Defensive tackle, outside linebacker, Damon Arnett going crazy, Mullen being hurt again. So we basically have Casey Hayward that we had to pick up in free agency, and then the flavor of the week on the other side. Jonathan Abram, what are we going to do about that? Are we going to keep this guy? There's some questions there. I mean, we got Unique, free agent, no doubt, paid money for him. Did well with getting Merrick in the second round. But there's still a lot of holes in this defense, and we were kind of an average defense. If you look at it, we were terrible under Paul Guenther. So he did improve it. He only had 1 year. If we were to keep him, I would have said okay, but he's moved on. We're moving on. That's fine as well. Swifty says, I couldn't stand Bradley's bend, build, break defense. I'm glad he's gone. Well, I think to be fair, we didn't have the talent to kind of do, if you, one thing about Derek Carr, even the haters, they might not admit it, but at times when it seemed that when the opposing defenses tried to blitz him, he would always kill him. He would always burn him. And I think that's what Bradley was kind of weary of, because we didn't really have the talent on the back end, especially at corner. And we had a rookie at free safety. I could kind of see it. Plus, we were getting a lot of pressure with the front four. I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of on the fence with Gus Bradley. I think he did a good enough job to have another year, but we have a new regime, new head coach, and I could see him moving on. It is what it is. This is kind of business this is. So Dick Vitale said we had 6 interceptions all year. Absolutely. we had 9 fumbles, 6 interceptions, 15 turnovers. One of the league worst in interceptions. One of the league worst overall in turnovers. Absolutely. Third and long always turned into a first down. It was rage-inducing. Actually, the third down conversions, I was looking it up and I was bouncing it off of the 2 candidates, the Patrick Graham and Sean Desai. And our defense was 15th. Sean Desai of Chicago was 11th. And Patrick Graham with the Giants was 16th, was actually a little bit worse. Similarly, the only thing he really knocked, like yards, but the big knock was, to me, was the red zone defense. Red zone percentage defense. Terrible. And that's probably one of the reasons. That, and we got destroyed by the Chiefs, our main rival, twice. Chiefs tore us up on defensive side. Worst red zone defense in history. Isn't a defense supposed to stop teams from scoring? Well, they kind of did. Now, let's go back to the last game in the playoffs. They did. I mean, the offense gave Cincinnati the ball, at the 15-yard line, 18-yard line, something like that. They only got 3 points. So, to me, that's a win. You can't knock the defense for giving up a field goal there when they had, they're in the red zone. So, they did give up some drives. Again, I don't think the defense was terrible, but I don't think it was great. I think there's a ton of holes. I don't care who the defensive coordinator is. I think they're going to have problems here. So, isn't it? Okay, you already said that. So, if you want to talk about Sean Desai, we can. 1 year, Chicago Bears. Good defense, but they have a lot of better talent, especially in the front 7. They have way better talent. I don't know what they're going to do at corner. I think they rented a couple corners last year. I don't think they're going to bring them back, so we'll see what they do there. Maybe in the draft, probably get another corner. But I think Sean had more to work with than Gus, to be fair, with Chicago. You could argue, as far as Patrick Graham goes in the Giants, their defense was top 10, and then they dropped off like a stone last year. And you could probably say, Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley being hurt, the offense was just pathetic. That's going to hurt a defense as well if they can't move the ball. So let's see. Sandy B says Carr needs summer school for more confidence. Oh no, we're going to get into the Carr debates. Okay, shout out to all the Carr haters. No, there's time with Carr. It's weird because there's times where he looks like he's poised, he's running, he's doing front flips for first downs, and there's other times where somebody's coming, he's huddling up, like Joey Bosa says. It's weird. It's like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with this guy. I don't know what's really going on there, and especially in the knock-on Carr I'd have during the Cincinnati game is, they said our defense sucks. They only give up 6 points in the second half. Our offense only scored 6 points in the second half, and there was a lot of times where Carr could have ran. He ran that one time. That was pretty much it. He could have ran a lot more. They weren't even worried about him running. There wasn't even a threat. So something needs to be worked on. I'm hoping Josh McDaniels can improve that. Let's see. Dick Vitale says not keeping continuity with the receivers is the biggest problem. I'm going to say the offensive line is the biggest problem, and specifically the abortion that is the right side of the offensive line. I'm going to say Alex Leatherwood might already be a bust in 1 year, maybe not. I know Colt Miller did not have a great first year, so let's have hope for him. But Brandon Parker's garbage. He's a free agent now. There's probably a 0.00001% chance he will be re-signed by the Raiders. Thank goodness. So that would be the question for me, right tackle. We're going to put Alex Leatherwood back at right tackle where we drafted him and then go get a guard, or we're going to keep him at guard and then have to go find a right tackle, probably in free agency. That would be the biggest question. And yeah, continuity with the receivers, Ruggs being stupid. But I mean, I think we don't really have a solid wide receiver one on the team. That really hurts us too. So we talked about that in the salary cap live stream. We talked about options there, whether it's Devontae or Allen Robinson, Brandon Cooks. So again, we looked at the numbers. I went with Brandon Cooks. He's going to be cheaper. I think he gives you a similar type outside threat, and he's pretty solid wherever he's been. He's been pretty good, even with subpar teams, subpar quarterbacks. Like I said, he had a 1,000-yard season with Davis Mills as quarterback last year with Houston Texans. So, plus the general manager of the Texans just so happens to have been from the same coaching tree with the Patriots. I'm just saying, they're probably buddies with Ziegler and Josh McDaniels. We could probably hook up a deal there. Just saying. Let's see. Dick Vitale also says, I watched an interview with Aaron Rodgers and he said it takes years with a receiver to get great. I guess. I mean, but you could also say DeAndre Hopkins with Kyler Murray. They looked pretty good right off the bat. So, I don't know. I think if you have an elite receiver, you can bypass that. He's afraid. Sometimes it looks like he is afraid, Sandy B, unfortunately. And sometimes it looks like he's braver than brave. Like I said, running for first downs, doing front flips, and kind of in the Kobe zone like he talks about, I like that car. Even if he makes a mistake, I like that car. Go out and try to win the game. Swifty says, Carr needs to stop having his big brothers fight his battles for him. Not a good look, in my opinion. Yeah, David Carr. Just be quiet, please. DJ Chark would be a nice pick. He also, Swifty also adds that. Yeah, I don't think he's a wide receiver one, though. He's been hurt here and there. I think we could get him. I wouldn't mind bringing him in, and Lyncho says Allen Robinson. That's another guy. Now, Allen Robinson, he was tagged. I'm wondering if Allen Robinson would stay with the franchise. They're undergoing a new kind of regime change as well. So I'm wondering if he'd want to stay there with Justin Fields and that defense, and with the Packers, and kind of taking that little downturn. Lions are still the Lions. They've been scrappy though. Let's give the Lions a little bit of credit. There were a few games they probably should have won this year, but they didn't. Kind of scrappy there. So Minnesota's kind of floundering. I don't even know if Kirk Cousins is even going to be on the team next year. I don't know. Maybe Allen Robinson will want to stay with Justin Fields. I don't know. That would be very interesting to see how that works out. Dominique says, I really want Allen Robinson. Yeah. He's going to be a little bit more expensive, I think, than Cooks. Maybe not as much as Devontae. We'll see. Again, we'll see what happens. Dick Vitale says, we want Carr to be great with new receivers every year. It's just not how it really works. We haven't had a real number one wide receiver. Okay, so you can blame that on the previous regime. Blame it on John Gruden for shitty draft picks. And, I know there's a lot of Gruden lovers out there. Honestly, I wasn't seeing it. If you looked at my grading Gruden videos, I kind of broke down how seasons went, how quarters went, who we picked up in the draft, who we picked up in free agency, who we let go. Were they good moves? Were they not? I've kind of broke it all down season by season and then gave a final summary. I'm happy with the new regime, at least on the personnel side. I think more so than the Josh McDaniels side. He's going to have to prove the maturity. It sounds like he's more mature. He kind of admitted basically he wasn't ready for the Denver Bronco job. So we're going to see it out there. And it seems like he's been more personable now than he was in his first stint. So I have optimism, but I think more so on that side of the ball than the personnel side right now. Let's see. Eric Hunter says, breaking news, Raiders report the DC from the Giants just got hired. So Patrick Graham got hired. Okay. Like I said, that doesn't really surprise me because he comes from the Patriots. I was thinking that. I would have rather have had Sean Desai. But that doesn't surprise me in the bit if that's true, Eric Hunter. Eric, I appreciate you in here. Robinson was already franchised last year. I believe you can franchise more than 1 year in a row, so that doesn't matter. And besides, like I said, he might want to out and out sign with the new regime, Lencho. And like I said, I'm impressed with Justin Fields. Okay. He had his times. He was a rookie, right? But that athleticism, I mean, I think he's kind of got that athleticism of Lamar Jackson, but he can actually throw the ball better than Lamar Jackson. He's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem in that division, I'm telling you. And they're getting that line together. They got Tevin Jenkins. He was hurt. He was finally getting healthy again. Solid right tackle, a guy I thought we should have got in the first round. We got Mr. Holdy, Huggy. I'm going to call him Huggy Bear because that's all he did. Even at guard, he was basically Huggy Bear. So maybe I'm hoping he bounces back. Maybe it was Tom Cable who sucked. I don't know. But look for things with him, and he might be seeing all this and saying, maybe I'll sign something. Who knows? Let's see. Swifty says, damn, not mad, but preferred Desai. Yeah. If I looked at the two, I would have rather had Sean as well, but Graham makes more sense because he's one of their guys. He formerly of the Patriots, and Jared Mayo would have made sense too. There was talk of him becoming over as a former linebacker coach, so of the Patriots. So doesn't really surprise me, to be honest with you. And you know what? If you're gonna hire a battery of a general manager and a head coach, this is good. Let them do their thing, and if it screws up, then barbecue them. But let them do their thing. So we'll see how this all plays out. It's going to be very interesting. Like I said, I would go back to my salary cap video. There are players we have certain players that are free agents. Some we can bring back. More importantly, we need to extend Eric Carr, honestly. I don't want Jimmy Garoppolo. That's an absolute joke. If they want to draft a quarterback in the draft, I would rather do like more of a project, bring him in for a couple of years if you want to do that. But I think Carr's probably our best bet of any of the other scenarios. And Carr doesn't, that's the whole thing. We're not building a fantasy team. Carr doesn't have to be elite. He just needs to be good enough. He needs to hold on to the damn ball. And we need to figure out, cut down these interceptions. Now you could say, like Dick Vitale said, not a lot of continuity of the receivers. Foster Moreau stopping in the middle of a friggin' route like an idiot. That'll cause an interception. But that needs to get fixed. And he needs a better glove. He needs a better glove on his left hand so he doesn't fumble the ball every time he runs with it. Let's see. Eric Hunter says, Sandy, I hope it turns out like the Patriots. Well, you have Bill Belichick there. You had Tom Brady. Let's not just say we're going to become the Patriots. But a lot of this fundamental activity as far as coaching and drafting, I mean, it's going to rub off. I mean, that's why people get hired from successful teams, right? They know what they're doing. So again, I think this team. We'll see what we do in free agency, but remember, we're 10-7. We got in the playoffs last year, so we fill about 4, 5 holes, I think, and we can be a contender. It's crazy, but I mean, especially if we like let's see. Let's see. Like Dick Vitale said, I really think we need a wide receiver one. I think that's a priority right now. And there's several out there that we could go after. So Lyncho wouldn't mind John Ross for speed also. Yeah. Um, yeah. He's okay. He's not great, but he's not terrible, so I'm okay. Jacoby Brissett going to be our new backup? I don't know. That's going to be interesting. Depends on how much we have to pay. I would say anything more than maybe 3 million is too much, because if they're not set on Carr, they need to trade him. But if they're set on Carr, extend him and then get a cheap backup just in case, and just with the COVID, I could see rolling with 3 quarterbacks. I could see that kind of makes sense, but I would prefer 2 quarterbacks. I mean, if you're down to your 3rd quarterback, you're probably not going to win anyway. It just is what it is. KO Raider, glad to see you in here. Huge with the new hire. Yeah, I'm enjoying it too. I'm very optimistic, especially hiring a GM with some actual front office experience. It's like, woo, it's mind blowing. We're not bringing in our buddies from the NFL Network. It's unbelievable. So let's see. Swifty says Andy Isabella from the Cardinals would be a sneaky wide receiver pickup. He's small but ran 4.3. Yeah, another little speedster. Yeah, I believe his rookie contract's up. So yeah, and they're not going to keep him. They're going to keep Kirk and D Hop, from the Cardinals. Oh yeah, you put Cardinals. So yeah, I would agree with you there too. But that's not going to be our main guy. That we need a Devontae. We need an Allen Robinson. We need a Brandon Cooks. We need somebody who is the man there. Patrick Graham just got hired as defensive coordinator. Drew Duns, you said that. Yes, you said that. And yes, somebody else, I think Eric said that in chat earlier. So yeah, again, that's not a surprise to me. Former Patriot guy, Ron Volstead, welcome here as well. Peterman is fine. He is fine. He was more of a Gruden guy, so and he did okay as a backup, but I don't know. Mariota would be an option if he'd be cheap, but he's made of glass, so Ron also says, I want to see an extension for Carr. So do I. Honestly, so do I. Especially with all the things I talked about with the fallout here with Rich Bisaccia. I think we should have retained him as special teams coach. At least left the door open. If he decided to leave, then that's his prerogative. But like I said, old school, Al would have done that. Mark, not so much, unfortunately, it seems so. Johnny Storms Beats, welcome here. I see you in here as well. Big defensive coach pickup. I'm going to say an okay defensive coach pickup. The defense kind of faltered, like I said, with the Giants. I talked about that earlier. You could say that's because the Giants' offense sucked and put a lot on the defense. But especially with that front 4 that they have, I would expect more. That's just me. I believe there was one stat I was looking up. Graham, his defense last year, he blitzed like twice as often as Gus Bradley, his defense. And I think they only had like 2 more sacks or something. So, I don't know. We'll see. I want to be optimistic. But it's going to start with the personnel side and filling these holes. So, maybe that'll be our next live stream topic. For this one, I wanted to talk about the major new hires here. So, Vinny Thomas, welcome here. New DC in town. Yep, that news is breaking out right now. Neto 24K9 says the same thing. We got Graham for defensive coordinator. What do you guys think about that? Rated on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best hire, 1 being a terrible hire on Patrick Graham, formerly of the New York Giants, being our new defensive coordinator. Go ahead and put that in the chat now. Type a 1 through 10, what you think this one is, and we'll just go through that as well. Again, Sandy B, thank you. Yes, if you are enjoying this, give it a thumbs up, like it. Also, if you are watching this on a replay and you're not here live with us, so we have a bunch of people in here talking about all these new hires, and we're having fun, enjoying it, going through the topics. Subscribe, hit that bell notification, set it to all. That way you'll be notified. And then if you're watching it on a device like a cell phone or a tablet, be sure that you set the YouTube notification app on, and then you will be notified of all of our live streams. You won't miss a beat. Let's see what you got here. Staff's coming together nicely. Yes, Swifty. I'm optimistic. I'm enjoying this. It feels like a kind of an actual, like we know what we're doing now, and I hope Mark Davis doesn't screw it up. He just goes and signs the checks and let these guys do their thing. The real question is, when does Deuce Gruden get the big slip? Oh, God. Oh, come on, man. Neto says 8 out of 10. Raider Mike, welcome here. 9.5. Nice. Eric Hunter, anyone like Christian Kirk or Brandon Cooks? Look at my salary cap video. Eric, I specifically talked about Brandon Cooks. I made a spreadsheet with our salary cap and who we can sign, and it was interactive. It was pretty fun. I actually had us trading for Brandon Cooks, former Patriot. Their GM at Houston is a former Patriot. We could probably get a deal going. I'm guessing about $10 million cheaper than Devontae Adams, and we can use that money elsewhere to fill holes. That's my opinion. Vinny Thomas says, I just hit the subscribe button. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. All of you coming in here and enjoying this and hitting the subscribe button as well, Vinny. Thank you very much. Dominic Maldonado, welcome. You gave it a 10 out of 10. Okay. I would probably go about 8 to 9 right now. And I talked about that. Some of the issues I had with the Giants defense kind of dropped out last season. But again, the offense sucked. Kind of left them hanging out to dry, to be honest with you. A lot of problems with the Giants. Not a fun time to be a Giants fan right now. This is a great time to be a Raiders fan, though. Mariota has to be in high demand this year, Ron says. Yeah, yes and no. Honestly, I don't know if I was another team outside the Raiders, I don't know if I could depend on him because he gets hurt all the time. It is what it is. Maybe sign him as a backup, maybe give him $3 or $4 million if I was another team, but I couldn't depend on him as the man, not for 17 games. Kevin Lurker, welcome here. You gave it a 9 out of 10. Swifty 7 or 8. I'm going about 8ish. I'm a little bit higher than you. As of now, 7 of 8. Eric Hunter says, Earth Daughter, welcome here. Just arrived home and you're live. Yes, I am live, and I'm hitting about the hour mark. I usually go about an hour. I will take some questions. So I find if you go like 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, it gets kind of stale and you kind of run out of things to talk about. And, I'd rather leave on a high note anyway. So Vinny Thomas, Raider Nation for life. I love it. Put those pirate flags up. We're going to be good this year. We were good last year, and we're only going to get better. That's the way I see it. The schedule, if you look at my scheduling video, it's going to be a little rough, especially we have to play the NFC West this year. Now think about that, right? 3 of those teams made the playoffs. 2 of them were in the NFC Championship game. It's not going to be easy, but we're a pretty good team too, so they need to be looking out for us as well. Let's see. Cooks is getting old. Pass. Hey, like I said, Chevy, he got over 1,000 yards with Davis Mills last year. He's still a threat. I like him there. So let's see. Rob Desi 420 with a 7 out of 10. Welcome to the program. Like I said, I'm thinking around an 8 for this signing. What type of defense scheme does Graham run? I'm gonna have to look at that. I think it's a 4-3. But again, hang on. But I defer back to our new head coach when he was asked about, well, you're going to run a 3-4 here. Basically, you're running a nickel. You're having 5 DBs for most of the plays. Your standard base now, because the league is like an arena league. It's pass happy, and all the rules are for passing. To be honest with you, so I'm not too concerned about that. Again, I'll say it again. I don't think we're ready. Even if Josh McDaniels wanted to go to a 3-4, we don't have the personnel for it right now. He'd have to build the team that way. I'm not too concerned about it right now. I think we're going to be running that 5 DB most of the time anyway. Let's see. Swifty says Cooks would be a great acquisition, and I agree, of course. Raider Mike 81, how you doing? Graham runs a 3-4 base, but he can also run a 4-3-5 or a 5-2. Okay. I don't really think it matters. It all depends on the personnel you have. You can't fit a square peg in a round hole. I mean, you could say Cleve Farrell could be a 3-4 end. I don't think Max Crosby's a 3-4 end. He's more of a 4-3 end. It's just the size, the way they play. So he would have to be kind of like an outside linebacker type, like a Joey Bosa type, if you were going to play a 3-4. Not a hand in the dirt. He's more of a hand in the dirt guy. Joey Bosa's kind of a stand-up kind of guy. So Kevin Lurker, hola. How you guys doing? Eric Hunter says, I like that kind of thinking because we need help at other positions. Absolutely. I don't want to blow the wad, go boom, boom, with $30 million, and then we have to extend. Remember, I have to extend Derek Carr this year. It's his last season. Max is on his last season. It's his 4th year. He was not picked in the first round, so there is no fifth year extension available by the team. So we're gonna have to sign these guys and make cap space and fill these holes. It's not necessarily easy. We're a little over $20 million over the cap as of now. The official salary cap number by the league has not come out yet. It's only estimated. Let's see. Drew Dunn says a hard 8 out of 10. Okay. Howdy. Let's see. Ron says 5 out of 10. Not impressed. I don't know. If you watch the game against the Raiders, that defense stymied this offense with Derek Carr. Let's admit it. I mean, we had every chance to win the game. We should have won that game, and that was on the offense. Let's admit it. And we had the bye week. We had a whole extra week to prepare. There was no excuse for that. It was ridiculous. Swifty says, why do you think the media is stirring shit? Past few days, most articles are all about Carr hasn't tweeted about McDaniels. Most Raider players want to keep Bisaccia. McDaniels might trade Carr because they need the clickbait. I talked about this last season, the off season. There's times in the off season, if you're doing a Raider channel or if you're doing sports or whatever, like a Raider type newspaper or whatever multimedia, there's times where there's not going to be a whole lot of news, right? I would say right after the draft, there's not going to be a whole lot of news until training camp, and you'll see content creators, and I called them out for it. They're just coming out with basically clickbait nonsense, and I think that's what's happening here. If you look at the actual interviews, they were interviewing Max Crosby, players at the Pro Bowl about Bisaccia. They gave a lot of love to Bisaccia, but they're saying that and Crosby said that's nothing against Coach McDaniels. I need to talk to him. I haven't talked to him yet. Blah blah blah. I mean, literally, he's been there one day since his announcement. I mean, give the guy a break. It's not like Gruden not talking to Khalil Mack all off season, Swifty says Carl Nassib could play 3-4, but he stinks. He did better this year. Let's admit he almost lived up to the contract, that terrible contract. Him and Littleton, probably one of the two worst free agent contracts we've had in the past few years. You could put Lamar. You could put Joyner in there as well. Another Rams player. Hey, Andy Raiders, how you doing? I see you in here. Hey man, hey brother, I gave you a shout out earlier in the video. I do appreciate you giving me a shout out earlier in the week with the salary cap video. I did, and I love the Raider Football Talk channel. I'm a mod for him. I'm a wrench for him. I get on there when I can, when I'm not busy and mod. But he's got a lot of good talk. He sits there and talks openly with you. He knows a lot. He's a little younger, a lot younger than I am, but he knows a lot about football. He knows a lot about the Raiders, and he's passionate too. So go check out his channel, Raider Football Talk. Go ahead and subscribe. I did put the link in the description. Go ahead and click that and hook it up. It's a good channel. Let's see. Mark and Ziegler really making moves. Absolutely. And I'm enjoying it. And, it's refreshing. And I like the attitude that they're having. I like that they're not going to basically, if you watch the presser, they're not going to put up with any more bullshit. And the type of players, hopefully we get more quality players in here as far as, between the ears, not necessarily trying to get talented players and doing stupid things and wrecking the season and all that. So I'm very interested in that as well. So let's see. Mark and Ziegler make moves. Do you think Shorty says, do you think Jonathan Abrams stays, moves to linebacker, or Josh moves on from him? That's gonna be very interesting. And I talked about that a little bit earlier about Jonathan Abram. What are we gonna do with him? Right now, I don't know. That's gonna be a huge question. Honestly, I don't think he's big enough to move to linebacker. That's just me. I know JOK is small but a little different. I don't know if his body can handle it. He plays like was it Hawkins from the Colts way back in the days. He's been a little bit more controlled this year, but still hurt the shoulder again. Same shoulder. I don't know. I really don't know. That's a huge question. We might be moving on from him. We'll see. Eric Hunter says, does anyone know how to change your name? You mean your own username in YouTube? You can just go to your channel and change your channel name. You can do it I think 3 times in 90 days or something like that. They don't want you changing it every day, if that's what you're talking about. Let's see. Dominic Maldonado says Abrams got to go. He's too much of a liability in coverage. Well, yeah, he's a box safety. That's and I said this before. That's like getting on Denzel Perryman's case for not covering, tight ends and wide receivers. That's not his game. He's Perryman's a middle linebacker. He played in 3-4 systems before he got here. That's just the way he is. Now you go to passing downs, you throw in the nickel, you put him on the sidelines. Kevin Lurker also says Abrams' time is over, I think. And Swifty agrees. He might be. And I'm concerned, like I said, it's the same shoulder. How's that going to hold up? All right, so let's see. Anything else you guys want to talk about? New breaking news, craziness going on, but it's good kind of crazy. It's positive kind of things. We're kind of getting our house in order. I was a little concerned with the delay with Mark Davis and the hirings, but you know what? I think he wanted this nice battery to be able to bounce against each other. That's why he got these two guys. It's like a package deal, and it's probably the best move we could make in the offseason. Let's admit it. Nick Kwiatkowski probably gone also. Yeah, I talked about that in the salary cap video. Also, Swifty, if you want to go take a look at that. What I do is I'll do a full live stream, like I'm doing like an hour-ish. And then like the main subject, I'll just cut that down into a regular video. And I think that video is only like 15 minutes or so. But it goes through everything. I made spreadsheets and The estimated salary cap, I kind of took it into account how much the signing of the draft class will be this year, all kinds of stuff, and also Kwiatkowski, how much we could save on the cap, that was on there as well. So yeah, he needs to go. It is what it is. I know. Same thing with Littleton. I know he's gonna make like 15 million, and we'll only save a million, but I don't know. Paying 15 million. He'll be, right now. Corey Littleton is scheduled to be our third highest paid player for 2022, and he's basically relegated to special teams. So let's see. I just got a phone call. Let's see. What DT do you like in free agency or the draft? Of course, everybody's talking about Davis. Um, that's interesting. If we don't go after Davis, I'd have to look at the free agency numbers. I put a couple guys in. If you look at my salary cap video, you can go check that out. But I think that's probably a future video as far as kind of breaking down. I did that last year, and I pointed to 3 positions on defense that I wanted filled out. Basically, the defensive tackle, which we kind of just put a bunch of guys in there at low rates to fill it in. The Leo position, which is basically kind of like Yannick, and then free safety, which we got Merrick in the second round. So, and I kind of broke down. I actually broke down the candidates, how much they cost, and then who I would want. So I'll probably do something similar a little bit later on, and but right now we're going through all the hirings and all that. So I need to look into that a little bit, get a little bit more deeper. I can give you a better answer on that, Eric. Let's see. Raider Mike says Kwiatkowski fits better than 3-4, but I still don't see him as a starter. Well, yeah, he was in the Bears system before this, so yeah. I'm a little disappointed in him. I thought he'd be better. I know he was kind of a scrappy guy, kind of making a name for himself, but not like some kind of an elite stud. We brought him in here. Again, this is another thing. We got to be real here. Back in the day, we were not that good. We're not that attractive to go to. We're in Oakland at the time. Now, no knock against Oakland, the Bay Area, but you know, you got to look at California. That's about a 10% tax rate on state tax right there, right? Especially for making millions of dollars, right? Now we're in Vegas. No taxes in Nevada, no state taxes. It's an attractive place. The team's a playoff team now. We have a better organization now. It's a lot more attractive. We should be able to attract more free agents is what I'm saying here. Who do you think is advising Mark Davis behind the scenes? Ron Wolf, Marcel Reese. He said his own group. Vitrell, Ron Vitrell, and who's the other guy? I forgot the other name. He actually said they all got together and talked about it. So Eric Hunter says everyone should be happy that Greg Olsen is gone if they like the Raiders. Absolutely. Let's see, 100%. 100%. Greg Olsen. I didn't like Greg Olsen in the Sharpie days, Dennis Allen days. He was the OC there when Carr was drafted. That's how long Carr's been on with the team. They said it's like his 6th coach if you count Sperano and Bisaccia. So yeah. Whew. Anyway, let's see. I think we're going to close this one out. I will be putting out a condensed video with just me talking about the new hires. I also included Champ Kelly in there, a little bit about him. I do appreciate you guys coming out here. I do thank you guys for coming out here. Again, once again, if you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up. Whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay, give it a thumbs up. And if you are watching the replay, what are you doing? You got to subscribe. You got to hit the bell notification. Set it to all so you can come out and join us out here. We're having a good time. We're going to do this at least once a week, and we have different topics that we talk about. We have one main topic, and if you didn't catch that, I will do a condensed version of that so you can see that. I don't know how long that'll be. depends on my editing and all that. So that'll probably come out sometime this weekend. I do appreciate you guys coming out here. I do thank you. There is one more question here. How many players does Gus take with him to Indy? Hopefully Perryman and Philon stay and re-sign. Perryman's under contract for 1 more year. Philon's a free agent. He might go with him. We'll see. He did get hurt. We'll see what happens with him. I do appreciate you guys coming out here. Come out and see us next weekend. We'll have a news topics. You'll see it out here. Again, thank you very much. And as always, go Raiders.
Ask you something. With all the distractions that you have off the field, how are you able to keep focused on winning football games as you do and do throughout the year?
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.